Hello, 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 beautiful people. Welcome to Good Morning with me, Misti B. Now, we all know that October is reserved for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Hence the pink that I'm wearing. And we want to talk to our community because there is this fear of the unknown, right? So say you find a lump in your breast and you're so afraid to go to the doctor and actually schedule a mammogram because you're thinking it's a death sentence. Well, that's not always true. And today's guest is going to tell us her story about how she survived at the ripe age of 39. That's right, I have multimedia personality Lyndsay Levingston right here in the studio with me, and she's going to share all of her story with us. All right, guys, so stay tuned. We're going to be right back right after this break with Lyndsay.
Real estate can be a very complicated process. Finding one, how much can you afford, financing, closing costs, mortgage, putting it on the market, considering offers, inspection, negotiations, submitting offers, schools, down payment, title insurance, home warranty, taxes, review net sheets. These are the pieces of the puzzle of home ownership. I'm the person who helps put it together and the glue that keeps it together. Give me a call.
Most multivitamins have ignored the health and nutritional differences of African Americans. What we require is a multivitamin designed to best suit our needs.
After years of treating patients and fighting health disparities, Dr. Greg Hall, physician, researcher, and educator, created a formula of multivitamins specifically designed for African American men, women, and adults over 50. Sequence Vitamins, because our needs are different. Available at sequencevitamin.com.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy, because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Experience the pinnacle of performance at Big Star Cadillac, formerly Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $449 a month, or the new 2022 XT6 Luxury Collection for $549 a month, all for 39 months lease with just $1 down. At Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, Big Star Cadillac, Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Smarter when you shop at Big Star. Shop BigStarCadillac.com.
I'm Jonathan Cox with the Cox Frater Law Firm. For years, we have represented people who have been hurt or injured all over the country, but Houston is home. We fight for those who have been hurt or injured, however it may happen. So if you've been injured in a car accident, big truck accident, or even while at work, call our injury hotline at 1-800-HURT-NOW or log in to BigCityAccidents.com and let us fight for you.
BigCityAccidents.com. We fight for your right to get back your life.
Well, welcome back, everyone. So as we are all aware, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And today in the studio, I have with me a breast cancer survivor, a young breast cancer survivor. Her name is Lyndsay Levingston, and she's about to share her story. Hello, Lyndsay.
Hello, Misti. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. All right, so you're glowing. You do know you're glowing.
It's a God glow.
It's a God glow. All right,
Yes,
are you ready to share your story with me and everyone on Good Morning with Misti B?
I'd be honored.
Okay.
So I was working in New York City in media, TV media, and during the summer of July 2019, while in the shower, during a self-exam, because we all should conduct self-exams, I felt a lump in my right breast, and I knew that it was not normal. So I immediately scheduled a well woman exam, and during that well woman exam, my OB-GYN ordered what was my very first mammogram at the age of 37.
37, okay.
So I had a mammogram, a 3D mammogram, which is like, if you think about a loaf of bread, these images kind of slice through the breast tissue, if you will, image-wise. And then a breast ultrasound, because they still weren't clear what was going on, and then a biopsy of that lump. And it was determined that I have triple negative breast cancer, stage 2B.
And triple negative, what does that mean? It sounds very not so positive.
So triple negative breast cancer is the most aggressive subtype of breast cancer that affects Black women at a higher rate.
Okay.
And it also requires aggressive treatment.
Okay.
So I immediately relocated back home to Houston to meet with my breast surgeon. And she laid out a plan, a very rigorous treatment plan that would include 15 rounds of chemotherapy, a lumpectomy that's to remove any remnants of the mass, and 6 weeks of radiation. Well, midway through my chemotherapy journey, and talking to a cousin on my dad's side of the family who was a breast cancer survivor, she highly recommended that I take a genetic test.
Okay.
Because when I was diagnosed, I didn't know I had a family history of breast cancer, because they do ask you when you're diagnosed. And I said, I don't have any family history, so we moved on. Well, she said, Lyndsay, on the dad side of our family, a lot of women have been diagnosed. You need to take a genetic test. So I did through Invitae, which is a medical genetic testing company. And that test revealed that I carry the BRCA1 gene mutation, which puts women and men at higher risk for, well, for women, breast cancer, and ovarian cancer. For men, it's BRCA2 for breast cancer or male chest cancer. So that completely changed the trajectory of my surgical plan. So after 15 rounds of chemotherapy, I rang the bell, and then I had a bilateral breast mastectomy or double mastectomy, which means they remove my breast tissue, plus breast reconstruction with implants. And then what I forgot to mention, I always forget this part, which is a very critical part of my journey. Because I desire to become a mother, I preserved my fertility before I even started treatment. So I was able to freeze eggs. But to reduce my risk of ovarian cancer, I had my ovaries and fallopian tubes removed in a procedure. So it was just this fast-moving train that's
a lot for a 37-year-old.
It was a lot for a 37-year-old.
That's a lot for a 30. So I have to ask you some questions.
Sure.
And let me know if I probe too much.
You can ask whatever, because I'm here to educate.
Okay, that's exactly what we want. So talk to me. You first find this lump in your breast. You know, we're taught to do our self-awareness, our self-exam during our cycle. Were you on your cycle?
You know what? I can't remember.
Okay.
But it was tender.
It was tender, okay.
And I could actually see it kind of protruding through my skin. And I said, this is not right. And I'll tell you, my first thought was, oh, this is a cyst. It could be aspirated. It'll go away. And so I was like, no, let me get it checked out by a clinician. Obviously take action. If you feel something, say something. This is what we say. They would say in New York PD, if you see something, say something. If you feel something, ladies, you say something. You schedule that appointment, and I'm so glad I did.
Very good for you. I know a lot of times fear. I've heard women say they found something underneath their underarm, their armpit, right? Oh no, that can't be it. But you can always tell that it's that fear. So for you, what stopped you? What kept you going, actually? Not what stopped you. Did you have any fear? Did you move past it? How did you move past it?
Initially, yes, because I'd never felt that before. And yes, when we're, during that time of the month, our breasts can be tender and or swollen, and we may feel something here or there. But I knew something wasn't right. And in the back of my mind, it didn't even cross my mind that it could be breast cancer.
Got it.
I was just thinking cysts, because cysts run in my family. So immediately I had to surpass any fear that I had and go to the doctor.
Very good for you.
Oftentimes in the Black community, women are afraid of the unknown, because if you get that initial mammogram and what if something is detected, oh my gosh, I'm diagnosed. But I'm a walking testimony that because I took action and I wasn't fearful, I got that mammogram, I'm living today. Early prognosis, early detection is key, and that's what saved my life.
I love that. And so you talked about how your plan had to change once you took the test, the genetic test.
Yes.
So you went from taking chemo, radiation. Did you get the radiation?
No.
Okay.
So that completely changed because of what's called the margin. So after chemotherapy, what's called neoadjuvant chemotherapy, which simply means that they're using these chemicals to shrink the mass before surgery or before lumpectomy, before mastectomy. And then they'll remove the tissue. And then if that margin is clear, which means there's no sign of cancer in that tissue they removed, then I would not have had to have radiation. For some women, they may have to have radiation. Every woman's case is different, but in my case, I didn't have to have radiation, praise God.
And it's something you said that's really like resonating with me, the family history. Because let's be very clear, in a Black family, we don't tell anybody nothing.
No, and I'm here you have to talk about what Big Mama's going through. Ain't so-and-so, your sisters, your cousins. I'm the 14th female Levingston to have been diagnosed with breast cancer.
Wow, and you had no idea prior
to the paternal side of my family, and I'm not that communicative with that side of the family. And so now I'm advocating for us to let's have a family reunion. Let's share. Let's get all the women together so that we can talk about this.
Absolutely. Because you can save someone's life by sharing your story.
Absolutely. And let's say if you have a family history, if you take a genetic test and you discover you carry the BRCA1 or 2 gene mutation, you can take preventative measures. I always use the example of actress Angelina Jolie. She carried the BRCA1, I think 2 gene mutation. Her mother had breast cancer, I think grandmother ovarian cancer. So she had a prophylactic double mastectomy, which means a preventative double mastectomy. She also had a hysterectomy to reduce her risk of ovarian cancer.
Wow.
So if you know that you carried these gene mutations, so let me rewind.
Okay.
Here's my doctor hat, my medical hat. So we all carry the BRCA1 gene.
Okay.
For me, so everyone's gene, let's say, looks like this. For me, my gene looks like this. It's broken.
Okay.
It's mutated.
Okay.
So that means that gene that's supposed to suppress breast cancer and ovarian cancer, it's not there.
Okay, it doesn't do so.
Exactly.
And you're a survivor today.
I'm
looking at that shirt, SurviveHER.
SurviveHER. So I learned so much, Misty, during my journey, medically, physically, emotionally, mentally, that I didn't want to withhold this information. Rather, I wanted to share.
Okay, hold that thought because I want you to share it too. We have to take a quick break.
Okay.
But I want to learn more about SurviveHER. And that's what you are. So thank you. I'm so excited. All right, guys, we are going to be right back to learn more about Lyndsay's SurviveHER right after this. See you in a second.
Real estate can be a very complicated process. Finding one, how much can you afford? Financing, closing costs, mortgage, putting it on the market, considering offers, inspection, negotiations, submitting offers, schools, down payment, title insurance, home warranty, taxes, review net sheets. These are the pieces of the puzzle of home ownership. I'm the person who helps put it together and the glue that keeps it together. Give me a call.
Most multivitamins have ignored the health and nutritional differences of African Americans. What we require is a multivitamin designed to best suit our needs.
After years of treating patients and fighting health disparities, Dr. Greg Hall, physician, researcher, and educator, created a formula of multivitamins specifically designed for African American men, women, and adults over 50. Sequence Vitamins, because our needs are different. Available at sequencevitamin.com.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy, because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Experience the pinnacle of performance at Big Star Cadillac, formerly Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $449 a month, or the new 2022 XT6 Luxury Collection for $549 a month, all for 39 months lease with just $1 down. At Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, Big Star Cadillac, Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Smarter when you shop at Big Star. Shop BigStarCadillac.com.
I'm Jonathan Cox with the Cox Radio Law Firm. For years, we have represented people who have been hurt or injured all over the country, but Houston is home. We fight for those who have been hurt or injured, however it may happen. So if you've been injured in a car accident, big truck accident, or even while at work, call our injury hotline at 1-800-HURT-NOW or log in to BigCityAccidents.com and let us fight for you.
BigCityAccidents.com. We fight for your right to get back your life.
Welcome back, everyone. Lyndsay is so full of life. She has me cracking up on a break. All right, so your shirt. I want to read it out loud for those who can't see. SurviveHER, inform, inspire, empower. So your journey started in 2019.
Right.
Lyndsay, it's 2021. You've done a lot in 2 years, honey.
I have done a significant amount in 2 years. Now that I think about it, so I just celebrated the 1-year anniversary of launching this brand, this platform, SurviveHER. So during my journey, because I learned so much information, that I had not known, even as a woman in her 30s, that I wanted to help other women. So I launched SurviveHER to inform, inspire, and empower women around breast cancer awareness and wellness beyond the month of October.
Come on, yes.
While this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the spotlight is on it this month, but women and men are affected by breast cancer every day of the year. 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in her lifetime. So it's my mission, my God-given mission, to help women who are on their journeys by sharing my story, by collaborating with brands and nonprofits like American Cancer Society, Susan G. Komen, AfroPink. So through my work, through content collaboration and conversation, I execute my mission. I also established a Mammo Grant Fund with a nonprofit called AfroPink. And we raise money to support women who are underserved and uninsured to help them pay for mammograms. A mammogram out of pocket costs like $250.
Okay.
And so if a woman misses that critical screening, that could likely end with a negative prognosis. So the earlier we can detect breast cancer, the earlier that any woman can get that mammogram, the better.
What are you seeing in the Black community when it comes to breast cancer?
Well, so we are diagnosed with breast cancer at a lower rate, but we're dying at a higher rate.
Okay, let's talk about this. So, because I always thought, Lyndsay, that we were diagnosed at a higher rate.
No.
So we're not.
We're diagnosed at a lower rate, but we're dying at a higher rate because by the time we get to the doctor, we're diagnosed at a later stage, which is why it's so important that we stay on top of the annual mammograms and those screenings, because early detection is critical. Early detection saved my life. So I'm here to say, get that mammogram, know your family history, because the more information you have, knowledge is power.
Yes, it
and you
absolutely
can
is.
act appropriately.
Yeah. You make me want to pick up the phone and call everybody.
Listen, I want everyone to pick up that phone and call your OB-GYN and schedule that mammogram.
Because you make a good point about, so like you said, how you weren't as communicative with your father's side. Well, my dad's side, it's all brothers, right?
Okay.
So now it makes me, but my grandmother, she has sisters. What's their story, right?
Absolutely, you want to know that.
Yeah, and I don't know it. So look, as soon as we finish.
In vitae.
Okay, so talk about freezing your eggs.
Okay, so working in New York, working in media, I was just hustling and bustling grinding, climbing the ladder of success. And I'll be honest, right before I was diagnosed, I had an audition for this show that I wanted to host, this national show. And then the diagnosis happened. I think it was like God saying, not right now.
I was gonna say, not right now. I'm getting not right now. Chills are coming on my body. Not right now.
Not right now. But as career-minded women, we put motherhood on the back burner until we think it's time to pursue starting a family. And I was married at the time, and it wasn't a priority. We were both
grinding.
We're both grinding. And when I was diagnosed, what I appreciate about my breast surgeon, Dr. Jamie Terry, with Texas Breast Specialist via Texas Oncology, through whom I was treated, she sat me down and she looked at me and didn't treat me like a patient, but rather as a woman.
Very good.
And she said, Lyndsay, what are we going to do about your fertility? We need to get some eggs out because there's a 50-50 chance the chemotherapy will damage your ovaries, which it did.
Wow, okay.
So before I even started chemo, I had about a week to do hormone therapy and to freeze some eggs, to get some,
a lot
to
of hard
retrieve
decisions
eggs
to make.
and quickly.
Yes.
I really didn't have time to process. I just said, whatever you say, Dr. Terry, I will do.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Because in the moment, you're just trying to process. But now I do have, hope for a future because I have eggs in the freezer.
Wow, look at you, girl. Looking at you, you would never know.
I don't look like what I've been through.
You do
Misty.
not. And it's the time frame for me. And all the like you said, the decisions quick. You had no time to, which I'm kind of glad in a way you didn't have a chance to let it just fester.
Right, because I think that I would have likely slumped into a depression.
Yes.
But I didn't have time to
power through it.
I didn't have time to be depressed. I had to power through because I knew I had to live.
Because you knew you wanted to live. And I think, and so going back to the fear, I think when we talked about it, some women, they see the diagnosis as a death sentence.
Right.
And it's not.
So we always think about like our grandmother's breast cancer, which decades ago looked very different. We always think that it will end fatally. But with the advances in science and technologies and treatments, there is a higher rate of, I would say, a higher prognosis, a higher rate of survival because of the advances in technologies.
Yeah, I love that. You said something earlier that really stuck with me. So when you found out that you had this cancer, you decided to come back home to Houston. Is there a reason why you didn't stay in New York?
So my village and my family is here in Houston, and I know that to go through this, I needed to be surrounded by support. And that's so important when you're going through a journey such as breast cancer. So I moved back in with mom. I mean, I'm an adult child, if you will, moving back in, but she was my ultimate caregiver. And my aunt, my sorority sisters, my church family, praying for me, praying with me, praying over me, that really helped me power through.
Yeah, you need your village.
You do. And to be honest, logistically in New York City, I don't know that I would have wanted to hop in a taxi to go to chemo.
Yeah.
And then also be mindful of lifestyle and being surrounded by so many people because your immune system is compromised during chemo and treatment. You have to almost stay kind of in a little bubble and be very mindful of hygiene and safety. And there's so much, and I can only imagine women who had to go through it during COVID. My last surgery happened right before COVID.
Ooh, that's a blessing.
Which was a blessing.
Wow, look at you. You just make me want to go there and hug you. But I am mic'd up. So, just leaving some words with people, so I'm 39. Right, we're getting to that stage. So, right, I'm planning for my 40th, but I need to be planning for future mammograms.
Absolutely.
I
would also recommend if you have a family. So you're going to get your genetic test, Misty. You're going to schedule that. If you have a family history of any type of any chronic illness or disease, then schedule the appropriate screenings. But if you have a family history of cancer, I would advocate for that mammogram before the age of 40. Guidelines now
have gone to 35, haven't they? Or?
Well, it depends on the state too.
Okay.
But I know the guidelines usually say 40 years old. But if you have a family history, you can advocate. You can get that mammogram. And if you have any symptoms, signs or symptoms, which would include redness, your nipples are inverted, nipple discharge, swelling. For me, it was that mass. Even check your underarms. So when you're conducting your self-exam, make sure you're feeling under the underarm, your lymph nodes.
Yes. Let's talk about something really quickly. Family history. So you have those people, family history. That sounds like 3 or 4 people. Well, there's only one person that's still your history. Would you agree?
Absolutely. One person is family history.
That's family history. Right.
So what I did we sat down with my nurse practitioner and we really created a family tree, and I had to make some phone calls to say, okay, Aunt so-and-so, did she have it? And then who was Aunt so-and-so's daughter? So we had to map out my entire family tree, maternal and paternal sides of the family. And we were able to track and see, okay, it definitely came from the dad's side. And then from whom on the dad, I mean, it was very, very specific.
This is amazing. Lyndsay, our time is up, but when I tell you, you are a walking, living inspiration to all of us. Thank you so much for coming on here and talking with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Miss.
Absolutely.
For having me.
All right, guys, I'm going to be right back right after this break. See you in a second.
Real estate can be a very complicated process. Finding one, how much can you afford? Financing, closing costs, mortgage, putting it on the market, considering offers, inspection, negotiations, submitting offers, schools, down payment, title insurance, home warranty, taxes, review net sheets. These are the pieces of the puzzle of home ownership. I'm the person who helps put it together and the glue that keeps it together. Give me a call.
Most multivitamins have ignored the health and nutritional differences of African Americans. What we require is a multivitamin designed to best suit our needs.
After years of treating patients and fighting health disparities, Dr. Greg Hall, physician, researcher, and educator, created a formula of multivitamins specifically designed for African American men, women, and adults over 50. Sequence Vitamins, because our needs are different. Available at sequencevitamin.com.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy, because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Experience the pinnacle of performance at Big Star Cadillac, formerly Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $449 a month, or the new 2022 XT6 Luxury Collection for $549 a month, all for 39 months lease with just $1 down. At Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, Big Star Cadillac, Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Smarter when you shop at Big Star. Shop BigStarCadillac.com.
I'm Jonathan Cox with the Cox Radio Law Firm. For years, we have represented people who have been hurt or injured all over the country, but Houston is home. We fight for those who have been hurt or injured, however it may happen. So if you've been injured in a car accident, big truck accident, or even while at work, call our injury hotline at 1-800-HURT-NOW or log in to BigCityAccidents.com and let us fight for you.
BigCityAccidents.com. We fight for your right to get back your life.
Well, welcome back, everyone. You know, Lyndsay, oh my gosh, she is such a light bright, and it's just so inspiring, so inspiring. So, you know, we talked about the fear of the unknown, and I enjoyed something that Lyndsay really said when she said, you know, prognosis or diagnosis back when our great-grandmothers or our grandmothers were diagnosed, it's not the same. So let's make sure that we are taking care of ourselves. You know, I'm really harping on self-love this month because that's my own personal journey. And this is a part of taking care of yourself. And let's make sure we're practicing all preventative measures as possible. As always, chat with us on Facebook and on Instagram at American Star TV. I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Bye-bye.